I didn't find out about my husband's affair the way most people do. There were no late-night texts popping up on his phone, no lipstick on collars, no sudden work trips. I found out because I was looking for a receipt. It sounds small now, almost ridiculous, but that's how it started. I was standing in our home office, the one we'd set up together years ago, flipping through a file cabinet that hadn't been touched in a long time. I needed a warranty document for a repair, something boring and practical. I wasn't suspicious, I wasn't angry, I wasn't even curious. I was just married, or at least I thought I was. The file was labeled estate planning. That caught my eye, but only briefly. We'd done our will together years ago. It was one of those adult things you do and then forget about. I almost closed the drawer without opening it. But something made me pause. Inside was a clean stack of papers, neatly clipped, newer than I expected. The paper felt crisp, not yellowed or curled like old documents usually do. I pulled it out and skimmed the first page. That's when my stomach dropped. The names were familiar. His name was there, but mine wasn't. Where it should have been. I kept reading, my fingers tightening around the edges of the paper. The language was legal and cold, but the meaning was clear. Our will had been changed. Not updated, not revised together. Changed. I stood there longer than I realized, reading and rereading the same lines, hoping I was misunderstanding something. I told myself there had to be an explanation. Maybe this was a draft. Maybe it was incomplete. Maybe I was panicking over nothing. But, deep down, I already knew. The woman listed as beneficiary wasn't me. It was a name I recognized. Not immediately. Not like a punch to the face. More like a slow burn. A co-worker. Someone he'd mentioned casually before. Someone I'd even met once at a company event. Smiling politely, shaking my hand, asking what I did for work. My legs felt weak, so I sat down in his chair. It still smelled like his cologne. That familiar scent suddenly made my chest tighten instead of comfort me. I didn't cry. Not then. I felt something worse. Clarity. Because suddenly 100 small moments clicked into place. The late evenings that didn't quite add up. The way he'd started guarding his phone. The way he'd grown distant without ever being openly cruel. The way he'd stopped talking about our future, even though we were supposed to be planning retirement together. I realized something else too. He didn't just cheat on me. He planned to erase me. I folded the papers carefully and put them back exactly where I found them. I closed the file cabinet and walked out of the office like nothing had happened. My heart was racing, but my face was calm. I'd learned long ago that panic helps the person who wronged you, not you. That night, he came home late. He kissed my cheek like he always did, asked how my day was. Told me traffic was terrible. His voice was relaxed, confident. He didn't look guilty. He looked comfortable. That hurt more than the document ever could. I smiled and told him dinner was in the oven. I didn't confront him. I didn't ask questions. I didn't even hint that something was wrong. Because the moment you reveal what you know, you lose control. Instead, I listened. I listened to the way he talked. I watched how he lied. I paid attention to details I'd ignored for years, and quietly, without him noticing, I started preparing. A week later, I scheduled an appointment with an attorney. I didn't say it was urgent. I didn't dramatize it. I simply said I needed advice regarding estate planning. When I sat down in that office, I placed the copy of the will on the desk. The attorney didn't react at first. She read, slowly, carefully. When she looked up, her expression wasn't shocked. It was focused. She asked me one question. Did you consent to this change? I shook my head. That was all she needed. What she explained next felt like someone finally turning the lights on in a dark room. The will was legally executed, yes, but the circumstances surrounding it mattered. The timing mattered. The fact that it was done secretly mattered. And most importantly, the affair mattered. In our state, marital assets, spousal rights, and intent play a massive role in estate planning. What my husband had done wasn't just morally wrong. It was legally vulnerable. I didn't feel powerful yet, but I felt steady. The attorney advised me not to confront him, not yet. She explained how people like him react when they feel cornered. They hide assets. They destroy evidence. They rewrite narratives. Patience, she said, was my strongest weapon. So I waited. And while I waited, I learned. I learned how finances worked in our marriage. I learned which accounts existed and which ones didn't. I learned how much was in retirement funds, investments, property equity. I learned which documents mattered and which ones were distractions. Every night, I sat across from my husband at dinner, nodding and listening while my world quietly reorganized itself. Then, one evening, he slipped. It was small, barely noticeable. He mentioned her name casually, too casually, while talking about work. I watched his face when he realized what he'd done. The flash of fear was there, gone in less than a second. I smiled. That's when I knew I was ready. I didn't expose him publicly. I didn't scream or cry or throw things. I did something far more unsettling to him. I became distant. Not cold, not angry, just unavailable. I stopped asking about his day. I stopped planning future events. I stopped initiating conversations about us. He noticed. People who are hiding things always notice when the person they're lying to stops reaching. A month later, I told him I needed space. I said I felt disconnected and wanted to think. I didn't accuse him. I didn't mention the will. I didn't mention her. He agreed too quickly. That told me everything. Within days, he moved into the guest room. Within weeks, he was spending nights elsewhere. And within 2 months, he admitted the affair, though he framed it as something that just happened. I listened quietly. Then I told him I wanted a divorce. That's when the panic finally showed. Bejed. Apologized. He promised transparency. He said the affair meant nothing. He said he still loved me. What he didn't say was that he'd changed the will. I let the attorneys handle everything. During discovery, the new will surfaced officially. The look on his face when he realized I knew was something I'll never forget. Not anger, not hatred, fear. Because now, he hadn't outsmarted me. He'd exposed himself. The court didn't move quickly. These things never do. But they moved carefully, and every document he signed without me became another brick in the wall closing in around him. The affair partner disappeared from the picture almost immediately once legal proceedings began. Turns out, being named in a will isn't very romantic when it comes with subpoenas and court appearances. In the end, the judge ruled that the will was invalid due to breach of marital duty and concealment. Assets were redistributed. My rights were restored. More than restored, actually, because attempts to deceive tend to backfire when the law is involved. I didn't celebrate. I didn't gloat. When everything was finalized, I walked out of that courthouse feeling something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. My ex-husband avoided eye contact. He looked smaller somehow, less confident, less certain. The man who thought he could quietly erase me now couldn't even meet my gaze. I didn't say a word to him. I didn't need to. I had my dignity back. I had my future secured, and most importantly, I had proof that calm, patient action is far more devastating than rage. If there's one thing I learned from all of this, it's that betrayal doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it hides in filing cabinets, in legal language, in signatures you were never meant to see. And revenge doesn't have to be cruel to be complete. Sometimes all you have to do is step back, let the truth surface, and allow the law to do what it was designed to do. If you've ever been underestimated, betrayed, or quietly wronged, remember tease. The most powerful response is the one they never see coming. And if this story resonated with you, if you believe in justice served calmly and smartly, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts below. Because sometimes the quietest victories are the most satisfying of all.